That's my job, provide that access.
Well, we appreciate you coming along. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And don't forget to ask about the poodle skirt.
That's right.
The greater Bemidji area that'll guide our development into the future.
Members, county commissioners, they're appointed by their respective bodies.
Honey, or it can be local, you and I creating a business that then we take to a local perspective.
If you have a question, call and ask, we'll help you.
Nobody knows about it, and it's
Well, the word's out now. Word's out now.
Your entire operation, how to bring people in. So let's get involved. Economic development is one of the most important tasks we have.
It is. It is.
Great to hear about.
Thanks again.
Mr. President.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Steve.
It's been a pleasure, Louis.
Thanks for joining us. It's 6:30 on Wednesday evening. I'm Lou Crenshaw, and thanks to Upstream TV, we're back once again with Inside Bemidji, where we showcase people and organizations who are working to make our community an even better place. And tonight we're delighted to have Jim Hess, Superintendent of our Bemidji area schools, here with us. Thanks for coming, Jim.
Glad to be with you.
And we're going to talk about the Bemidji schools, and so please stick around.
Okay.
Jim, let's start with you. So how were you originally from Bemidji?
No, I'm originally from South Dakota. I grew up in Clark, South Dakota, which is a farming community in the northeast corner of the state.
And the closest corner of South Dakota.
The closest to Minnesota from this part of the state anyway. And spent my formative years there, and then graduated from high school and went to college in Aberdeen, South Dakota, which the Aberdeen Northern State plays against Bemidji State, and so got to know a little bit about Bemidji State through college activities. And then I taught school in Aberdeen, where I graduated from college, and then I got my master's degree at Northern State as well. And eventually I started working my way west and went out to western South Dakota as a teaching principal in Wall, South Dakota, that has the famous Wall drug.
All right,
and,
good.
Then from there I went down to Colorado and spent much of my career in Colorado.
And you got your PhD in Colorado.
Yes,
Where,
I did.
What?
I did my doctoral work at the University of Northern Colorado in Greeley.
And when you came out of Greeley, what position did you go to then? Because it sounds like you're kind of working your way up. When did you become a superintendent?
Well, my first superintendency was in a small school district in northeastern Colorado. We had about 237 kids and a grocery store that had 3 aisles and I think about 1 paved street in the town.
Right.
But it was a great place to start and to learn. You know, I had kind of thought about it with my career, and I thought, you know, what is more important? Should I be a superintendent, you know, in a small school district and learn everything about it, or should I major in like human resources or business services or curricular instruction?
Like different kind
and
of
those
categories.
Those are all. Yeah,
have.
those would be assistant superintendents in a larger district. So I decided to, you know, try to learn all of the different functions of school district operations and be a small school superintendent. So that's what I did.
At the beginning. How long was that after you got your PhD that you were able to move into that position?
I was in the process of getting my doctorate while I worked in that small district.
Okay.
Right.
I just kind of wondering how the school and the advancement works there. What year did you end up coming to Bemidji? How long have you been in Bemidji?
Well, I've been in Bemidji now for 9 years.
9 years? Okay. And you came from?
I came from Colorado.
From Colorado.
To here, yeah. And of course, in the meantime, there were some other stops along the way. a few years in Kansas, in southwest Kansas, and then a few years down in southeastern Minnesota, in Austin, Minnesota, kind of the Hormel
The
capital
Hormel capital.
of the world. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember, just a couple of weeks ago, somebody was talking to me about having worked in Austin and the Hormel capital, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'll remember who that was.
Well, you got to know that there's a
But it's a
difference.
small world, yeah.
People that are not from Austin, they'll say Hormel,
Uh-huh.
and people from Austin, they'll say Hormel.
Okay.
Okay, there's no Mel on the end of it.
Right.
So yeah, it was a great experience.
So you were
People
teaching down there in the
I was the
southeast
superintendent.
You were a superintendent?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been a superintendent for a long time.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you were a superintendent down in the southeast of Minnesota.
Right.
Then you went back to Colorado, and then you
Uh-huh.
came back to Bemidji.
I did.
9 years.
9 years. And year 10 starts July 1st. So that's just next week. And so then I'll, have completed 9 full years, and they've just flown by. This has been a great school system, a wonderful community. My family and I have really loved it here. A few years ago,
You have children, right?
Yeah, we do. We have
Now,
a
how old
couple
were
girls.
they when they came to Bemidji?
Well, they were middle school. That's a tough age to
move.
To move.
Because they're close
But we
with their
did. My
friends. Yeah,
youngest
yeah.
one was in middle school. My older girl was just starting high school, and they got started in the system, and I kind of made a promise to myself and to them that I'd like you to stay and graduate from the high school where you start school, because we moved, any number of times.
Well, it sounds like you, as
Yeah.
your career progressed, you moved along with it.
But I wanted them to be able to have the benefit of a great school and a great teaching faculty and curriculum, and that's what happened here. Bemidji High School was a fantastic school for our
Yes.
daughters, and well, it was for them, and,
Okay,
and
I
it
see
is
your
for many
point.
other people, and
Uh-huh.
so I was so glad to have them
Do you
be
got
a
2
part of that.
daughters?
Right.
Okay, and they've now graduated and moved on with
They
their lives?
have. One of them is a senior at Augustana in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and she's majoring in deaf education and early ed. And the other
good
one
for her.
graduated from the Carlson School of Management at the University of Minnesota, and she's a business consultant.
Oh,
So
good.
yeah, they're
And out of Bemidji High School, and off they went.
well prepared.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, you've been here longer than me. But I've been coming longer than you. Because
there-
I have family here. I used to come in the summers, but live here, we've only been here about 3 years.
There have been a lot of people that have come to Bemidji over the years that I've been here, and it's something kind of unusual about Bemidji is, when I tell people to stop by my house or, come over and visit, they say, well, where do you live? And so I give them the address, and they say, oh, well, that's so-and-so's house,
Yeah, right.
And so
That's
we're
true.
kind of, rooted in the past. The person that built the house, it's actually his house forever.
Forever. That's
So,
right.
the
As
house
long as
will never
people
be
remember
mine.
that.
It'll always be, Noel Coons' house.
Yeah,
And as far as I know, he's not making any of the payments and hasn't ever since I've been here.
Lori,
But, yeah.
Lori Forche Donay and her community arts are trying to move to the old Lucan store.
Mhm.
It isn't the county building or whatever it might have been 2 or 3 times since. It's the old Lucan store.
Yeah, so that
is fun.
Seated in the past is kind of a good thing, because people need to have remembrances, and they need to be able to preserve the past, and I know that that's a little bit ironic coming from me, because I have to deal so much with the future. I mean, I'm dealing with children, and they are our
but
future.
you're an educator, and I think from that I would surmise or guess that you understand how much the past teaches us and how important it is for education.
Well, we can't make the same mistakes as we did in the past. we
What
need
is
to
that
learn
old
from those things.
cliche about if you don't know anything about history, then you're gonna just make the same mistakes again?
You're doomed to fail. Yeah, repeat it. That's
Well,
right.
Jim, let's talk then about your organization. It's called School District 31.
Mhm.
First, it's of course our Bemidji area schools, but
Right.
then it's School District 31. And what's that mean? What's the 31? Tell us.
Well, the 31 was just the number assigned to us by the Minnesota Department of Education a long time ago. Each district became a consolidated school district many years ago. In most states, that occurred in
And
the
that's just
60s.
when
or
they
so.
listed them, we were 31st
Well,
on the list.
you know, that was part of it, and there were all these smaller school districts, and some of them were like K through 6 districts or K through 8 districts, and some of them were K through 12 districts.
Are there
and-
still differences like that?
No, because
They-
what
they
happened was the law
unified them.
changed so that all districts have to belong to a K through 12 district. They
Okay,
have to be able to be part of a district that has a graduation.
gotcha.
or-
And so is that when they
matriculation.
like reorganized them and gave them the numbers?
That was it.
And we
Mhm.
became number 31 at that time.
Yep, School District 31.
And what's it like? You know, what's our area? What do we encompass? Are we all in the county? We're more than
No,
one?
as a matter of fact, our district is a very large geographic school district, one of the larger ones in the state of Minnesota. Not as big as, say, St. Louis County or say, Grand Rapids. They have huge land areas, but ours is different in the fact that ours is big, and we travel all those roads to pick up students and bring them into Bemidji. Grand Rapids, for instance, has another high school where some of the students that live a long way away from
So it
Grand
cuts their
Rapids
travel
would
down
go-
some big factor.
Yeah, to Big Fork.
Mhm,
And so ours just has a single high school, and so we travel over, 825 square miles of school district territory. We run about, right around 80 buses a day to pick up students and transport them to any one of our district programs. We also provide...
820 square miles.
Yeah, we also transport students for the
How many
parochial
buses, I'm
schools.
sorry to interrupt you, but I'm just trying to get my mind around this. How many buses do you run out a day?
Like I say, just right around 80.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. So
Yeah.
you're running 80 buses a day?
Right. And we have the buses that transport not only District 31 students, but we also transport the students for the parochial schools like St. Philip's and St. Mark's and Heartland Christian Academy. We also transport the charter school students. And so we would pick up the students for Schoolcraft, which is a K through 8 charter school, Voyagers, which is a 7 through 12 program.
So your buses are handling the transport for the parochial and the charter schools as well?
As well as the
Is that a cost-benefit thing? In other words, you already got your 80 buses on the road, and how does that work? Do you like contract with that? They contract with you to do that?
Actually, the state has an arrangement so that school districts that have a charter school within their boundaries, the charter school just notifies us, and if they notify us by July 1st of each year, that we are then compelled to transport their students.
So you, by state edict, transport all the students in the whole area?
Yes, we do.
Wow.
Now, there is an upside to it. The state pays us a certain amount of transportation dollars or reimbursement for the charter school students that we transport, but we're losing money on the proposition, and so we have to take money out of our general fund in order to pay for transportation. And so it would be nice if, it would be a break-even kind of thing. And
Sure.
we've had conversations at the state capitol for any number of years now about looking at the transportation formula and make sure that it's fair and equitable to everybody
Good
involved.
luck for that. It sounds like that'd be a good thing for Bemidji if you would be successful.
I mean, we've gotten their attention they've taken notice. They haven't been able to attack the transportation formula because what happens is in the current formula, there are winners and losers. And the winners are school districts like St. Paul and Minneapolis.
And they don't want to change anything.
They're not
They've
interested
got
in change.
clout.
Yep, and they have some
Yeah,
political
that's a
levy.
shame.
And districts like Bemidji and places like that, not so much. So, we have to make do with what's there. And
A continuing,
we're going to
project.
continue to chip away
Good
at
for
that
you.
until we get it fixed.
well, yeah, like I said, good luck with that,
Yeah.
because that would be a good thing. Your organization, you just moved them to your new location down here on Minnesota Avenue, right?
Right.
I
We're-
got this off your webpage, I'm
Yeah.
fully informed. How many people did you consolidate there, and where'd they come from?
Well, let me start at the beginning.
Start anywhere you
The
want.
beginning is, we have had a population surge as far as our elementary enrollment. And we're enrolling more and more
Elementary.
students in kindergarten each year. For instance.
So these are the youngest,
The very youngest learners.
the
um,
population
Mhm.
is going up.
It's coming up.
All right.
Years ago, we used to graduate maybe 310, 320, 330 high school seniors. And last year, we had about 425 kindergarten students. Okay,
Mhm.
so there's
30%
this,
increase.
groundswell.
That's big.
That's
Why,
coming
why
our
is
way.
that? Are we a population explosion, or are we bringing people in from other areas? Or
Well, I think a lot
That's a
of it.
big percent
Yeah, a lot of
increase.
it is due to Bemidji being a regional center.
Okay,
And because we're a regional center, people want to live here because we have shopping, we have services, we have healthcare,
Wow,
we have
great.
great education opportunities.
that's a great point, but you have to accommodate it in your programs.
Absolutely, we have to take care of the kids.
Okay,
And sometimes, a family may have a student that has special needs, and those special needs might be very unique. And it would be more than, say, one of our smaller neighboring schools could accommodate. And so the people would be encouraged to go to Bemidji because they provide that service.
so
They have
we
that kind
might,
of help.
a
They have that
smaller
kind of program.
system might not have the same kind of programs we have. So another incentive for them to
Obviously
move
not,
there,
yeah.
get the kids in the school system that
Right.
can meet their needs.
Right, like, kids with autism or visually impaired or auditorially impaired.
Uh-huh.
Those are all pretty specialized issues. And I mean, our district has occupational therapists, physical therapists, speech therapists, autism programs, programs for emotional behavior disorders. I mean, just any number of things. And so we become, the district of choice.
Yes, for any of
For
that.
those
And I want
families
to,
that
and I
have
want to
special
talk about
needs.
that, because that's something that I don't think I appreciate, or maybe others do, is this list of special programs. So we're going to get to that and talk about it.
Okay.
The organization, though, how many of there are you down here in your new building, and what kind of things do you do out of there?
Well, we have, let me just talk district-wide first.
All right, sure.
District-wide, we have about 900 employees.
900?
Yes.
And that
I mean,
includes, of course, the teaching staff and the people doing all those things you just mentioned.
Right. We have about 390-some teachers, full-time equivalency.
Uh-huh.
We have a large number of paraprofessionals. We have a large number of bus drivers, cooks, custodians, maintenance people, a huge number of people that are involved in community education, people that might teach a class for community ed, people that may be coaches or activity sponsors.
Oh,
You
that's
just
right, you've
keep
got
on
all your
adding all of
athletics
those things.
programs,
Yes,
too.
that's all part of District 31. It's a really, truly comprehensive educational program. And so with all of those people and all those programs, we are, struggling to find space for everybody to do what they need to do. And the bubble really kind of started to burst with our kindergarten enrollments, as we
Yeah,
were
as you
talking
just
about
pointed
before.
out, big
And,
increase.
so years ago, kindergarten was halftime program. Kids would go every other day. So, you know, at any one time, you'd only have half the kindergarten kids in you know, classes. Now, kindergarten is all day, every student. So we just doubled the amount of classroom space.
Is that a recent change?
That's been since before I came here.
Okay, so
it's probably been,
that's
you
been
know,
going
10 or 12
a
years.
while. But
And
you've got this kindergarten group, and if the number goes up significantly, that's like in my mind, I can see, you know, the snake that swallowed the mouse. That bulge
working its way through the
keeps working
system.
its way through the system. And if there's another, in other words, if it's not just a singular thing like the baby boomers were, but if it continues to build up kindergarten after kindergarten, then your whole system is going to be under stress for change.
Well, that's what's happening. Our elementary class sizes and grade levels are, you know, having about 400 students enrolled in them. Our high school grade levels have maybe 360, 370, 350 students enrolled in them. So we've got this surge.
You've got a
that's
surge.
working its way
So
through
this
the district.
regional center and your special, the attraction of your special services and programs, you and your organization are going to have to deal with our success as a regional center and our attractiveness as a regional center.
Well, it's a mixed bag of blessings, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it
You know?
is.
And it's far better, I can tell you this, it's far better to be looking at, you know, incremental growth
Mhm.
than it is looking at dismantling programs in schools and thinking about what you can do without because of declining enrollment and declining resources. So it's a good thing, and our school board is very well in tune with this, our leadership group, our you know, teaching faculty, we all know what's happening. You know, we can see it in our building enrollments and how space is being kind of at a premium now.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And so this, well, let's see, this is our second year that we turned the Paul Bunyan Center, which was primarily district offices, community education, things like that, and we've turned that into an elementary attendance center. And so a few years ago, we brought in all the students from Northern Elementary who were kindergarten age, and all the students who were kindergarten age from Solway. So that would be 6 classrooms of students plus our district K-1 program. So 7 classrooms of students were relocated to the Paul Bunyan Center. That gave Northern Elementary the opportunity to take care of all the classroom needs that they had
The
at their
growth
building.
in their other grades,
Yeah,
right?
and so they didn't have to have art on a cart or mobile music. They had rooms to do all of the things that
And
they
by
needed to do.
consolidating your kindergartens, now you can leverage among all of these
Yeah,
classes.
so each one of these buildings now gets space because those 2, 3, 4 sections of kindergarten aren't there. So this is the way that we're creating space for the growth in enrollment at each one of our attendance centers.
Yeah, okay.
The only problem is, this is it. This is the end of the line, because this year we're bringing in 3 or 4 more classes of kindergarten students from Horace May, and Paul Bunyan Center will have reached its capacity
Okay.
by the end of
You'll
this
have to
year.
get a new strategy.
And so then we won't have any more places to create classroom space
for
at the building
kindergarten
level.
people.
Yeah, and so we'll have about 250 or 260 kindergarten students at the Paul Bunyan Center, and then when we do that, then we had to move all the other people that were in those spaces at the Paul Bunyan Center, and so we looked at what space we had available in the district, and the space that seemed to be most appropriate and maybe utilized not as completely as it could have been was the space in the upstairs at the Downtown Education Center, which is the former First National Bank building.
Okay, and that was where a couple of years ago you did move and consolidate.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and the upstairs of the Downtown Education Center, we had the Area Learning Center, the Adult Basic Ed GED program, and then we housed probably 8 special education homebound staff that would go out and spend their times, delivering services out
Yeah.
in the community.
I want to talk about that too later.
Okay.
Hey, you mentioned the school board.
Mhm.
Now, the school board are elected, is that right?
Yes, they are.
So they're like elected by the community, don't
Mhm.
What would be the right word? Is it oversee? They act like your board of directors?
They are the board of directors.
That's your board of directors,
and,
okay.
And I work for them.
I understand.
Yes,
Just
I
like
do.
you're the CEO.
That's right. But they set policy
Mhm.
and the governance structure for the district. And then they appoint me to run the day-to-day operations of the district.
Mhm.
And so that's how school board governance works in Bemidji. And it works pretty well. We have a great school board. They are very involved, very knowledgeable, and they're not afraid to make hard decisions. They want to know the facts on every issue, and it's just a pleasure working with them.
That's great. Well, we're lucky to have that system then. Let's talk about some of your schools.
Okay?
Now, you've already whetted my interest by talking about all of the special kinds of programs you guys administer in the region. But let's talk first about what I guess I'd call a traditional school. The kind of school I went to 100
Okay.
years ago.
Sure.
Okay. And you have some of those.
Well, sure.
And in fact, you have quite a list of them, right? You have Horace May, Central, J.W. Smith. Am I getting the list right from our
That's right.
earlier?
Uh-huh.
Lincoln. How about Northern? Are they?
That's all.
Northern?
Those are all elementary schools that are organized with kindergarten through 5th grade. Now, some of those schools don't have their kindergartens because they've been relocated.
They've been relocated.
To the Paul Bunyan Center.
Solway, you said, has been
Solway,
relocated. Northern's
Northern,
been relocated.
And Horace May is about to.
Okay, into your new center.
Right.
So they used to have K through
5.
5, and now they have 1 through 5.
1 through 5, right.
And then they go to what you called middle school.
Right, and middle
Which
school
is
is
a word that sounds
6,
very British to me,
7,
and not where I went to
and
school.
8.
All right.
And the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders attend Bemidji Middle School. There are about 1,100 kids at Bemidji Middle School.
So that's a big school.
3 grade levels. Yes, it's bigger than some communities around here. And, they do a great job over there. There's a principal, an assistant principal, then the dean of students, who also spends part of his time as an activities coordinator at the school. They have a terrific teaching faculty, and they are organized by grade level, and then in each grade level they have what we call pods. 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. They generally have 3 to 3.5 or 4 pods. And a pod is a grouping of 120 students.
It's a pretty big group.
That's a big group. And then they have 4 regular classroom teachers, one that teaches in each one of the core subject areas, one that teaches language arts, one that teaches science, one that teaches social studies, one that teaches math. Then they have specialists that work with the students as well from that pod or that area.
It's a pod, excuse me, Jim, does a pod all show up for a lecture like in university at the same time?
Well, they could, but the pod is structured so that there are 4 classrooms that are all in the same geographic area, and they may share common walls, okay? The middle school was built a long time ago when they had kind of the open concept, so
Okay.
they don't have a lot of walls and a lot of doors and things like that. Now that, in some cases, is an advantage, and in other cases, it's a distinct disadvantage. especially if there's commotion or noise going
Yeah,
on
right.
in the room next to
Distraction.
you, you can't close the door because there is no door.
So usually that 120 is broken down into 4 classes?
Yeah,
and
there-
they'll
there
have
are
4
4
teachers
classes.
that are sort of rotating?
Right, and
Gotcha.
the students will go to those 4 teachers for their core subjects. And then, for the other 2 periods of the day, they'll go to like music or physical education or industrial technology or orchestra or family and consumer studies. They have a number of electives that are offered at the middle school as well. And
Sounds
I'm
like a
excited
good
by
program.
the electives that they're coming up with. I mean, they've added electives like forestry and, let's see, Denise Black is teaching a interesting elective that's like ecology or something. I mean, it's really icky, gooey kind of things. And
Like some
grossology is the
some
name of
kind
it.
of art here.
Grossology, yeah.
Now,
So,
so
pretty
they
cool
go,
things.
that is cool. They go 6, 7, 8, was that right?
Right, uh-huh.
And then they go to, I guess, what I would have called junior high school, or they go straight to high school
They
now?
go to the high school.
So the high
from there.
school, your high school, our high school does 4 years?
Right.
Okay.
9 through 12, and our high school has about 14 to 1,500 students, and they offer 200 and some classes every day, and the students are in a 4-period day at Bemidji High School. Each period is about 90 minutes in length, and in a semester.
Really,
our
at
stu-
90 minutes?
Right.
That sounds like you'd really learn something compared to 1 hour.
Well, if you're in a chemistry
What a modern
class
world we live in.
and you know, you're spending 20 minutes taking the glassware out and cleaning the glassware and putting it away, all of a sudden that 55-minute class becomes about a 30-minute class.
Yeah,
Okay,
true,
so
true.
the 90-minute classes really lend itself to laboratory things, music, art, the industrial technology areas.
Mhm,
Just think about dragging out all the tools to work on, you know, a differential on a car. Well, that's a lot. Think about, you know, the classes that we have as far as home
Yes,
construction and things like that. We actually build, you know, 2 houses a year with our students, and they build them for the Headwaters Housing Development Authority. And, you know, those that have become market homes that
Oh,
are
that's
put on the
incredible.
market, and they become family residences.
That's what an amazing program.
Yeah, I mean,
That
we
takes
have
some
all sorts
specialized
of things like-
leadership.
It does. It's special leadership, special training, special tools, special accommodations for the students, but all of those kinds of things are things that are happening at Bemidji High School today.
Let's take a break. Lots of great things happening that I'd never heard of at Bemidji area schools. I'm Lou Crenshaw. This is Inside Bemidji. Thanks to Upstream TV, we do this every Wednesday evening at 6:30, and we're trying to showcase people and organizations who are working to make our community an even better place. And I want to thank you for joining us. As you can see, I'm here with Jim Hess, the superintendent of our Bemidji area schools. He's been talking about programs that they certainly didn't have when I was in high school back in the dark ages. And it's really pretty exciting, and we've just been talking about his traditional programs. So we're going to go on to talk now about some of his special work here for our community, and so stick around. So Jim, you're building houses, and that's just your normal shop kind of stuff, right? I made a coffee table and shop when I was in high school. It wasn't a very good one.
So did I. I didn't make a very good one either.
I didn't make a very good one.
But,
But that was about it.
yeah. Well, in this program, the students start with the plans of a house, and in order to kind of speed things along, we've had some of the concrete work already done, but the students at one time were even involved in, you know, framing and forming up the basement walls and pouring the footings and foundations and things like that. And then now the kids are building on slab, and they're building 3 and 4 bedroom homes.
That's amazing.
And the homes have
That is amazing.
great energy efficiencies built into them as far as their design.
Sure. Good
This
for them.
spring I looked at the 2 houses that they built, and they had ceramic tile in the entryways, and they had granite countertops, or granite, siltstone kind of countertops, and
We've come
they
a
put
long
in
way.
all the fixtures, and they, the kids choose the colors for the rooms, and
Now that's the
and,
first time you scared me.
well, they do a great job, and if the homeowner doesn't like that
They can
particular
repaint
color combination,
But
they
you
can
talked,
repaint it.
you
Yeah.
talked about rebuilding transmissions too. You have some mechanical
Oh, sure.
engineering type
We
program?
have robotics. We have electrical engineering. We have the gateway to technology things. I mean, we start at the middle school and work our way through.
That's great.
As far as
That's great. Now, do you work with the guys out at the tech college?
Yes, we do.
Down here? I
In
mean,
fact,
how do you work with them?
well, our students, when they enroll in some of these classes, they have options. In some cases, they might want to have just high school credit. In some cases, they might want to be enrolled in the technical college or Bemidji State University. So they
Yeah.
might be in what we call post-secondary enrollment options, PSEO. We might be concurrently enrolled so that they'd be getting both high school and college credit. In some cases, they might be college in the schools, where we'll take our staff,
College in the school.
college in the schools, we'll take our staff and we'll teach the college class using the college textbook, the college syllabus, and the kids will earn college credit while at
While they're in
Bemidji
high
High School.
school.
Yeah.
Boy, what an opportunity.
So we have lots of different tracks for kids to consider, and it really is a wonderful benefit for the student and for their parents, because those kids are going to earn college credit while they're still in high school.
That's amazing. Unheard of.
My daughters both had 12, 15 college credits before they graduated
Really?
from Bemidji High School. We have kids that have even more than that.
Mhm.
We also can award college credit through our advanced placement classes. And we have
Yeah, I've heard of those.
over a dozen advanced placement classes, from advanced placement calculus, European history, American history, college advanced placement in English, advanced placement in music. I mean, there are any number of advanced placement classes, economics, sociology.
Now, how do you qualify, if you will, your program and curriculum to so a student gets out with this AP stamp on it? How do you do that?
Well, the teachers have to have special training,
Mhm.
okay? And we have to teach the AP approved curriculum.
Okay, so you
So
got to have the right teacher and the right curriculum.
Yeah, we teach their curriculum. We use the textbook that they select at the AP college boards. And then the students, at the end of the class, have to demonstrate their competency.
Is
And they
this
have to
some
take a
kind of
test.
Test.
Yes.
Okay, so they got to test out.
And in
Good.
the test,
This is great.
okay, the test based on their percentage of correct responses, they'll get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if they get a 3, 4, or 5 for their score on the AP class, then they'll earn college credit.
There you go.
Another option.
It is, and so I presume you're coordinating this as well with BSU and the tech college in some
The
ways?
AP classes are, no, they're done through AP. There's a
No, I was
special
thinking
program.
back more on
The
your-
college in the school, the
Yeah,
post-secondary
Yeah,
enrollment
yeah.
options, those are all things that are done with Bemidji State University, or Northwest Technical College,
Mhm.
or the University of Minnesota Crookston. We have agreements with them so that we can give kids credit through the university system, the MINSCU system, the Minnesota State Colleges and University system, or through our high school.
And I would imagine that gives them a look over your shoulder to make sure that their criteria are being met for their part of the bargain, which is accepting those credits and qualifications.
That's right. There has to be assurances of compliance. There have to be, you know, reviews of the program and curriculum and materials. And, you know, but again, our teachers do a fantastic job. And the
What a
teachers that are
breadth.
involved in these programs really step up, and our kids get a great experience through their involvement in
It
these
sounds like
programs.
it.
Yeah.
What a smorgasbord of opportunities
That's
compared
part
to
of
when I went to high school.
200 plus classes that kids can choose from at Bemidji High School.
And that's just the traditional schools.
That is.
Let's kind of click off some of the really, really specialized things you do.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us, for example, what's Lumberjack High School?
Okay, Lumberjack High School is a school within a school for students that, you know, for some reason haven't been successful in the traditional program. Maybe they've got a shorter attention span, or maybe they've got some other kind of issues going on in their life, and that 90-minute class period is just over the top for them. Maybe they've got some other interferences going on. Those students could enroll in the Lumberjack High School, and they could still earn credit towards graduation. The Lumberjack program is on a 60-minute day period instead of the 90 minutes, and they're kind of contained in a smaller area of the high school. There's one kind of wing of the high school where it's Lumberjack High School, and they're there for half of the day, and then the other half of the day they can go out and enroll in the elective programs, elective classes
The
in
kind of
other
things
parts
you
of
were
the high school.
talking
Yeah,
about. Okay,
the other kinds of
okay.
things.
So their, if you will, classroom work is under a different structure.
Their core curriculum is through Lumberjack High School.
Mhm.
But then their electives, you know, like the physical education classes, music classes, art classes, things like that, they can take those out in the regular program.
So this is a way of dealing with people, students, who for some reason, probably a variety of reasons, aren't performing in your normal, if you will, and by normal I mean your structured 90-minute program. And so you accommodate them in a different kind of a program.
Yeah, you know, every kid has their own clock, and some of them are set, you know, and wired pretty tightly, and some are more loosely coupled, and so we just try to find options so that kids can be successful.
Don't lose them and let them be a success.
Right. We always want to look for another doorway,
That's
another
right.
path for them,
Mhm.
so that they can find their way to be successful. That's our goal. And so
Right.
Lumberjack High School was created just, I think, a year or two before I got here. Raleigh Mulrood and the high school staff started talking about it, and then we kind of put it on steroids when I got here, and I said, I really want to see this thing, you know,
Yeah.
sing and move,
Yeah.
and so we have probably 60 to 80 kids in the Lumberjack High School at any one time, and our goal is to get them successful, get them, you know, ready to go so that they can graduate on time and have the skills that they need to be successful in life.
They just learn a little bit different way.
That's right.
Got it. You know, I'll do you an aside once. I was in charge of a bunch of businesses out in Hong Kong for about 4 years, and they had these locks on the door. And within about 2 months, I had 2 different managers from a couple of these businesses I was representing for them come in, and so we'd go out to lunch, we'd come back, and there'd be this lock. And so for this one guy, he says, you know, how do I work this thing? And I said, oh, just look, it's just midnight, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, you're in. And he was like, oh, it's a great way to remember it. And he went. So a month or 2 later, another manager came back from lunch. He said this thing, and he said, how do you work this thing? And I said the same thing to him, and he said to me, oh, I can't handle that. What are the numbers? And I think that's exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Some people just attach to information different than other people do.
Exactly.
And so they learn differently. Anyway, that's my take on it. Community education.
Community Ed is a big program in District 31. It has the opportunity to have a tax base. You know,
What's that mean, Jim?
well, people throughout the Bemidji area are taxed to help pay for the community education program.
Is that some kind of, in other words, this program was
It's
set
a
up?
state law.
It's a state law.
Yeah, it
So
was
the state
provided
established
to-
this program.
Right.
And the state makes sure taxes are raised to fund it.
Right. They give us the authority to levy taxes so that we can collect the taxes
So you
and
can
provide
fund
the
this
program.
program.
Right.
And what's its objective?
Well, community ed is an opportunity to continue learning beyond high school. So we have, you know, adult enrichment classes in community education. We also have a very strong program for after-school childcare. It's called Kids and Company. That involves hundreds of kids at our elementary schools.
So you're running a child care program. That's part of your community education
Right,
program.
right.
So if a single mother has to work until 5:30,
Her
you
kid can stay right at that school
Oh, that's wonderful.
and be safe.
Sure.
And the parent
And,
will worry about
and
it.
be in a nice and fun
And
environment
be
and
in a
learn
good
something
environment,
maybe.
you know,
Right.
where the child is comfortable and familiar.
Mhm.
Then our community ed program also has things like early childhood family education, where we have specially trained teachers on
Okay.
the staff that meet with, you know, preschool mothers and fathers and help them with parenting skills and help their children grow and reach those developmental milestones that they need to reach along the way.
So you're like reaching out to the early family?
Yeah, so we go, I mean, community ed goes from birth until the grave. I mean, you are qualified for community ed in all those places along the way.
How many people are in that department, if you would?
Well-
Just to give me an idea of.
We have many people that are involved in the, you know, childcare with Kids and Company. We have many people that are involved in the adult basic ed and enrichment kind of programs. Again, it's all under community ed, and
Adult-
they just do a fantastic job.
Adult basic ed. This is for people who didn't get a chance to go to Lumberjack and
Yeah, there
needs to
might-
come back and do
might-
some more.
Might be someone that maybe didn't
Family
take
issue.
that last English class their senior year,
Okay.
and they'd like to get a high school diploma.
Got it,
So they
right.
come back and they can take a series of classes and then tests, and they can get a GED diploma.
Yeah, do that. Get that last English class and get your children to stay through high school, because the statistics show if you don't have a high school education in this country, then your lifetime economic situation is statistically not a good outlook. Get that high
Hundreds-
school
Hundreds
education.
of thousands of dollars.
It really is
lost
important.
earning power.
That's just the way our country works, so don't fight against it.
Yep.
Get them to go through high school.
So that's all part of community education. But we also have, you know, community ed, recreational kinds of things. I mean, they teach everything from Zumba to, you know, that's a very popular class, by the way. You probably won't see me there, but.
Yeah, I can't even spell it, so we won't go there.
But, you know, we have youth activities as well under community ed and you know, a lot of opportunities for kids. And John Buckanaga and John McRae usually write very successful grants, and the state steps up and helps supplement the
So
district
you have
community
some
ed budget
people
with those
helping
things.
you write grants?
Yeah,
too,
absolutely.
for
And
some of
they're
these
right on the
special-
community ed staff.
And they're aimed at these really specialized programs?
Right, right.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Now, you have three I don't want to miss out on that are really special.
Mhm.
And one is the First City School.
Right.
right?
I
And
can
then
talk a
you
little bit
have
about
the
that.
OSCE
Manitou.
Manitou,
Right,
and the bylaw.
right.
So let's talk about those.
Okay.
Those are really specialized,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, well, we'll start with First City Schools.
All right.
Northwest Juvenile Center, as you're driving out to the high school, on 5th Street,
Right.
you see this sign that says Northwest Juvenile Center,
On the right.
just off to the right.
Mhm.
And a lot of people wonder, well, what's that all about?
Mhm.
Well, Northwest Juvenile Center is a detention center, and it's where young people have been sent, generally court-ordered, and in that program, there's a secure and a non-secure part of the program. The secured, is kind of locked
This is
down.
detention.
It's
This is detention.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
detention. And then the non-secured, there's
But
a
these
little
are
bit
young
more
people.
flexibility. Yeah, these are kids that have many times made some poor choices.
Well, but they need to be educated. I guess that's the
Well, they
point,
do,
right?
and the goal of rehabilitation, is easier accomplished if you have education coupled
Yeah.
with it. So we provide educational services for these students that have been basically incarcerated because of, some choices that they've made along the way.
That might be a hard teaching position.
The teachers out there do a great job. They really are passionate about their work, and we provide the basic core curriculum to all the kids. Plus, we also provide things like physical education, and students are involved in a computer lab and things like that. So it's a great opportunity, and
They're teaching out there every day,
yeah, and that's one of the reasons.
just like a normal school day.
They do have the incarceration residential part of the school, or the facility, and then they have the school part of the facility. And our staff work in the school part of it, and the students come at a certain time, and then we have a number of class periods with the kids where we try to take them wherever they are and help them, get as far as we can take them. Now, the statistics about people that are in the, state penitentiaries and things like that, it's staggering to know that most of those people in the penitentiary never did learn how to read or write efficiently, or their reading and writing ability is so low that and there are some people that speculate that's why they're behind bars,
I was going to say
because
that might
they
be part
had
of
to
the
make
whole
other
problem,
choices.
right?
So we want to make sure that we give these kids skills, and specific skills in reading and in writing and in mathematics, so that they can qualify to make other choices and better choices.
It's a great
later on in
program.
life.
And your OSCE Manitou is similar, yes?
That's a program that we operate in conjunction with the White Earth tribe. And the White Earth tribe purchased the old Gilfillan Center, which is on 15th. It's close to our bus barn. In fact, it's right next door. And the Gilfillan Center was there basically to help students who were chemical abusing. And OSCE Manitou has the idea that they want to help students gain new life and new perspective. And so it's working with students that have had chemical abuse issues or things.
And once again,
under the-
helping them rehabilitate with education,
Right.
part of the formula,
Right.
right?
So we provide basic skills instruction at
Right.
OSCE Manitou.
Another very similar program. And bylaw is, again, another in this family?
Now, bylaw is another one of our alternative programs. It's under our special education department. And bylaw is Bemidji Youth Learn and Work. Okay, that's what the bylaw says. It
So
doesn't
this
mean
is a
that they were
very-
put in there by law.
Okay,
It
I
means
wondered.
Bemidji Youth
So
Learn
this is
and
a
Work.
very local program.
It is.
You
It's-
guys came up with this?
Yeah, and it was done a number of years ago. And those are students that quite often have pretty significant emotional behavior kinds of issues, and they've not been successful in the regular education program, and it's that other pathway that we provide for them to be successful.
So all three of these are people in trouble.
They're kids that need a different
I
approach.
mean, they're in trouble to the extent that they're not going to show up at your normal high school. And so in
Well,
every case, they need a different
probably
approach.
were, but they weren't successful
Yeah,
there.
right.
So now what we need to do is
Do something
retool and give
for
them another pathway. So that's
In
what's happening.
bylaw, what's the working part again?
Well, students in the bylaw sometimes have opportunities where they can go out and work in the community. And we do that in a lot of our special needs programs, where we'll take the students and they'll be able to work at an area employer's establishment and actually earn a paycheck. They might be paid like sub-minimum wage, but they'll still be
But they'll
paid.
still be working
And
and paid.
they'll
And
get
you
a
know what,
paycheck.
even if they're getting a lot of money or not, they're learning about the structure of work in that environment,
There's
which is a big lesson.
responsibility. They have to
That's right.
interview for the job. They have to learn about cleanliness and appearance. They get job interview
This is
skills.
all wonderful.
All of those
All
things
that's
are
wonderful.
employability skills.
So we're talking here about a school system that's far beyond what I would have thought of a traditional school, and you know, I guess I wasn't aware of this wide list of where our school system is reaching out to all sorts of, and accommodating the offering of education to help them be a success. I think that's great, I really do.
Well, it's a challenge, but it's an opportunity.
I imagine it's a challenge with the staffing and
It
just
is.
alone.
And sometimes we don't have all the revenues that we'd like to do as much as we'd choose, but
Sure.
we have to use the resources that are available to us and use them wisely, and I think we do that. We have again, a strong board. They're good decision makers. They care deeply about kids, and our district is, you know, on a really positive trajectory. We're going in the right direction in so many
Sounds like
ways and so many programs, and it's just getting better every year. And a big part of that is our staff. Our teaching faculty are second to none. They
Well, just to
put so
run
much
these
on the line
programs,
every day.
you must have just some really specialized people in your team to be able
Absolutely,
to bring this
yeah.
about.
Yeah, we've been blessed with great teachers.
You know, one thing that I wanted to talk about, because just like your very specialized educational offerings, which I wasn't aware of, there's also something that, you know, I wouldn't have thought about when I look at your webpage, and that's all of the, what I would call your logistics or services. You know, that you, and I presume this is all coming right up your same administration, and I'm talking about, it's a long list. Transportation, you talked about 80 buses, but you know, all of that. The warehouse, the food service, you've got meals.
We serve more meals each day than McDonald's does in Bemidji, I can tell you that.
I bet you do. That's just breakfast and lunch.
Oh,
right?
yeah, that's right.
You got your health services, because all
Right.
of your, everywhere that you're operating, you've got health service access.
Right, we have licensed practical nurses and registered nurses and health paras at every facility. So it's a big business, a very complex operation, and again, we have a terrific staff. Each one of those programs have very strong coordinators that are knowledgeable, they're experienced, they know what needs to be done. You know, they're really the best of the lot.
Well, that's just,
Just
I
so-
just wanted to make sure that we understood there's a big component there, all of these logistics and services that come along with what you're doing.
Well, just imagine the symphony of getting, you know, close to 4,600 students from their homes to the schools and back each day
Mhm.
with all of the other things that occur, in life. It's just amazing.
Every
Imagine
day.
serving, nutritious meals, breakfast and lunches to, close to 5,000 kids every day. Imagine, being up to date with all the immunizations and
Oh, I hadn't even
you know,
thought of
all of the kinds of
that.
things that
Yeah.
we are charged with. I mean, public health can't do that. They turned that over to the schools. They said, help us with this, please. And so we're the enforcement agency for, the Minnesota Department of Health when it comes to immunizations and measles, mumps, rubella, all those kinds of things. We have to do those. We have to be on top of that.
It's a great story, Jim. I wanted to go on and talk beyond services, how you're being impacted by some government programs, what the future looks like, but luckily we covered a lot of things because we're running out of time. But we can always do a part 2.
Okay.
But boy, did we, I learned a lot. I want to thank everyone who has been with us this evening. We learned a lot about our Bemidji area schools from Jim Hess, our superintendent. They got a lot of things going on beyond what I would think of traditional schools. Even his traditional schools are doing way beyond anything that happened in my high school. Like I say, back in the dark ages, it's pretty amazing. Especially for me, Jim, was the offer of the AP and the college-bound credits, and what a merging of opportunities for college and work life that you guys tee people up for. But we're going to have to do that next time. I'm Lou Crenshaw. We do this every Wednesday evening at 6:30. We call the show Inside Bemidji. We bring it to you courtesy of Upstream TV, and we try to showcase people and organizations who are working to make our community an even better place. It's been an honor to have Jim here because I tell you, of all the organizations, this is one. And thanks for coming, Jim.
Sure.
And you got a last word.
Well, I think our school system is a great school system, and we can get even better. There's no glass ceiling. Okay, we can continue to improve, and what it's going to take to continue to get better is to have our community support, people that are willing to come in and volunteer, people that are willing to get involved with our programs and our kids, people that will support us in the elections when it's time to go to the ballot box, and sometimes it may cost some money, but boy, just think of what it costs if we don't have great schools, and think of the return on the investment.
Yes.
It's just
education is everything in a society. I think
it
all
really
the
is.
statistics show
It all
that.
starts with us, and when there's a problem, it usually lands squarely on the education system's shoulder. It doesn't matter if it's drug abuse or the bullying or teaching vocational skills or whatever. The schools have always been the answer, and we'll stand up and we'll do that. But public schools can't do it by themselves. We have to have the help of our community.